Good morning, my name is Karen Kong and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to my This or That Thursday. So we had two cards. Every week I try to post two cards as usual in my group, and I asked my crafting community to choose a card for me to make live. These are the two that we chose from, and we're making this one. It just eked out a win, so I know that on my Facebook group this was the clear winner, but there were some more votes over on my Instagram channel, so it still seems like this is the favorite. So that's what we're making today. So if you're joining me live for the first time or for the umpteenth time, please say hi. I love it when you guys join in and craft with me, keep me company, because it is way more fun to chat with somebody than talk to myself. I know that my usual friends are busy today. They're popping in and out, might be late, so it would be lovely to have somebody else join in and comment either on the replay or better yet live. Anyways, I'm going to get my computer set up so that I can see all your comments while we're crafting, and I just need a second. I had some technical difficulties today. It was really weird. My husband was trying to fix something else on my machine last night, and this morning when I tried to launch Chrome, it just didn't launch. It just did not launch at all, did nothing. So I was trying a few different things and I ended up having to uninstall, reinstall, and that fixed it, thank goodness. So anyways, I was late because I didn't have that time to do a little bit of prep work. So I am here now, we are ready to go. Let's get moving. I have my computer up and ready, and I'm just going to switch my views, so just close your eyes if you can for a second, and I will switch my view to my desktop. Just give me a second. Here we go. All right, so every week it's always like a guessing game as to which camera on my phone is going to focus on my desktop, or at least that's what it feels like, and I have to adjust for where it is. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. There we go. And I think that's good. I'm glad you can't see the wreckage. Well, I think you can tell there is like a bit of a mess on my desk, but I have a whole pile of blends markers out because I was using blends markers to color my flowers. So, and I'll tell you which colors I used later. If you're joining for the first time, I always post the measurements and my products and the colors and all the details in the video description after the video is done. So relax, sit back, enjoy, and we will create a card together. So I usually lay out what products I used on my desktop so you can get a general idea of the supplies that you need if you want to try to recreate this card. And I try to tell you everything as we go along. So I used, which one is this? This is the Nested Essentials dies. I think these are retired. I can't remember. I think they are retired, but in any case, I used the smallest rectangle to create a backing for each of my little bouquets of flowers. So this card was actually cased from Heidi Collins. Her card is almost exactly the same. I think the only thing I changed was I didn't have the floral arrangements that she had from a different set. And I didn't have Lemon Lolly, which is the matching yellow in the flowering Zinnias DSP that I used. So I used Flirty Flamingo, and I also used a Blackberry Bliss ribbon instead of, I think she used a twine. And I think it still turned out great. However, I do like the yellow. I think it stands out better. And so today, I'm just going to change things up a little bit. Somebody else, my friend Tara, asked if I'd thought about using the subtle embossing folder for the matte. And I had thought about it. And I didn't think it needed it. I think there's enough going on this card that it doesn't need the embossing. So I think I'm going to stick with that today. However, I'm going to change out the Flirty Flamingo for the Daffodil Delight. And I think that the yellow in here is subtle enough that it's still going to look like it matches because there's not a lot of it. Ideally, like in an ideal world, I would have lots of lemon lolly on hand, and I could just use lemon lolly for the matting, but and the cardstock, the card base, but I don't. So anyways, I'm going to switch it up a little bit for this card, and oh, I have Daffodil Delight ribbon as well. So let's get going. I'm going to make a little bit of space on my desk, and we will get started. I am, loving the Zinnia set, the flowering DSP, the flowering Zinnias DSP, and the bundle for this, for the DSP a lot. I used it a lot more than I thought I would, and it has been just so much color and cheeriness in springtime. Good morning, Tara. Glad you made it back. I'm running behind. I'm glad it means that you can join in too. I'm just starting. So I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight today instead of the Flirty Flamingo, and we'll see how that turns out. Okay, so we're going to cut the card base first and the matting that I need for it. And I'm also going to use the same color for the little rectangle die cuts. In this example, my original sample, I used Petal Pink because I felt like the Flirty Flamingo, it was too dark and it just faded into the background. It didn't stand out enough, so I used a lighter cardstock for this one. But now I'm going to use Daffodil Delight for all of it. So let's see how that turns out. I'm going to bring over my paper trimmer. And let's cut the card base. This is just a regular card size. So I'm going to take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and I'm going to cut it in half at 5.5 inches on the long side. Okay, so I'm going to use the cutting blade on my trimmer, and then I will use my scoring blade to score it halfway at 4.25. Okay. So my mat is just a little bit smaller. It's like a 1/4 inch smaller. I'm just going to double check. It's 4 by 5 and 5.25, I believe. I'm just double checking. I've made cards so many times, but every single time I double check because once I've cut the paper, it's too late to fix it, right? So I'm going to cut it 4 inches wide. Okay, you know what I want to try this time is that sometimes when I cut the pieces of paper separately, you find that this, like these need to be the exact same width, the DSP with the mat, and I sometimes find that it's just a smidgen too short or a smidgen too long and they don't line up, and it bothers me. I know it doesn't bother everybody, but I wanted to try doing the cutting the width at the exact same time. So I just need to find my DSP, and I know it's right here. Okay, so I want it to be 4 inches wide, and 4 inches wide. I'm just thinking here, this is okay, so I need this DSP to be 3 inches tall, so I'm going to cut off. The long edge on this paper is already 4.25, so I'm going to cut off 3 inches this way first. And then I'm going to turn it because I want them both to be 4 inches wide. So then I'm going to line this up so that they are edge to edge the same, so that I will get the exact same cut. Actually, let's do it in the corner. I don't know why I'm doing it part way. I know that I have to glue it there. I don't have to cut it there. Okay, so let's line that up at 4 inches. Oops. And line this also up at 4 inches. So I'm going to make sure the edges are exactly the same. And this way, hopefully I'm going to get the exact same width together, so nobody's going to be too short or just a smidgen too long. when I go to adhere them. Oops, I just need my, that's my scoring blade. I'm just going to use my cutting blade now. There. That will solve my problem. There we go. So that's 4 inches by 3 inches. And then this, I need to just trim it down now to 5 1/4. I'm just looking for any bent corners, because if there's any bent corners, I'm gonna cut that edge off. So, but there's none. This one's good. 5 1/4. Okay, so let's put that aside. All right, so I have this exactly matching. I love that. I'm gonna have to do that more often. I just thought of that this morning. Okay, I think the rest is die cutting. I'm gonna need the 3 little rectangles. I'm gonna bring in my mini cut and emboss machine. I was thinking it didn't get enough love lately, so I made sure today, because I'm just die cutting little things, that I would bring in my mini. Okay. All right, so let me just get out that tiny little die. Okay, and I'm gonna get a smidgen, like a scrap of Daffodil Delight. I know I have tons of scraps here, and I'm just gonna get a scrap piece out to cut out my 3 pieces. Let's see. I wonder if I can get 3 out of this one. Let's see how many we can get. All right. Oh, I forgot. I need to stagger my edges. It's been a while since I've used my mini. Mine does not work as like if I try to push the plates through all even, it will not grab it. So I need to stagger them, and that is standard. Not everybody has to do that, but I do. So there's one. Oh, I guess I'll just get 2 out of here, and I'll get 1 more scrap after. And I'll stagger my plates again. They don't have to be exactly even. So I hear there are thunderstorms in the forecast. Tara, is Miles, your dog, afraid of thunderstorms? Does he hide if there's like thunder? I'm just curious. After a super hot day yesterday, it's almost a relief to have some rain, isn't it? Okay, I'm just going to grab 1 more small piece of... Oh, I was... what dies are these? These are the Nested Essentials. Okay, I just need 1 more small piece to die cut my last rectangle. Let's see if this fits. Oh, that would be tight. I'm going to grab another piece. Oh, he's not afraid, eh? Not afraid of thunderstorms. That's good. So you won't have somebody sticking to you while there's a thunderstorm going on. Sorry, I'm just trying to find another piece big enough to cut the last rectangle here. Let's go. Here we go. There. Okay, now we have 3. Okay. We do have more die cutting to do with the flowers and the pots, but let's stamp them and get them colored in, and before we die cut them. So let's put these aside. Oh, your previous dog didn't like them. Okay, all right. Yeah, I know most dogs are not fond of like loud noises like fireworks and thunderstorms, and it causes great anxiety. Okay, so I need, okay, so I have 3 there. Okay, so I have some scrap here. I have already colored and stamped and colored 2 pots. I'm going to do the 3rd one for you live. Just need some Memento Black. So I'm going to stamp it, and I'm going to let it dry for a second while I stamp the other flowers. So what I did, sorry, I should explain what I'm doing here, is I took the little potted plant here, and I took the flowers from the bouquet, and I just cut the flowers out and I stuck it on top of my potted plant to make it like a flowering potted plant. Okay, so that's all I did, because I didn't have the set that Heidi had, and I just improvised using what I have. You know, I haven't even used the shopping cart from this set yet. I am dying to cut out the shopping cart. I don't know why I haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, so there's the flower, the pot, and I need some flowers. I'm just going to clean off my stamp. Let's get the flowers out. Now I only need part of it. I don't need, I'm just looking for a scrap piece of paper here. I don't need the entire stamp, so I'm not going to use all of the paper. I like to be conscious about how much paper I'm using. I know a lot of people don't, it doesn't bother anybody to stamp the whole thing, but I knew I was using a lot of the paper when I stamped out several of these, and I was only using half of the image. So I'm only stamping half of the image that I need on the paper. All right, so if you notice, I have 3 groups of colors here on my card. So I had a group of purpley colored flowers, I have the berry and pink ones, and I have orangey, pale, petal pink is the other color I used in this set. So I have already stamped and colored and cut out 2 of them to save some time. So I'm going to do the orange ones next, okay? All right, so I used Pumpkin Pie, the dark and light, and I used Petal Pink, the dark Petal Pink, to color these in. So I just found, for my own preference, that I liked having the same color family in the groups of flowers. I tried, the very first one I did a whole mix of colors. I did, you know, all these 3 colors mixed together, and it was colorful, but I just prefer using the same color family when I've got 3 bunches, so that's why I chose that. Okay, so I'm just going to color these in. My daughter loves these blends markers too, and she's discovered the power of alcohol markers, and I have to get her her own set because I don't want all my markers disappearing over to her desk and then not coming back. So I didn't want to buy the Stampin' Up! Ones because she's a little harder on her art stuff. Oh, hi Sandra, thanks for joining in. So I actually bought her some, like a set of her own alcohol markers, but not Stampin' Up! Ones, so that they would stay over at her desk and she could use them as much as she liked. And it was a little bit cheaper because it wasn't the same. I hope they'll be decent quality. I haven't received them yet, but we'll see. But of course, Stampin' Up! Markers are the better quality ones. Okay, so where's my Petal Pink? This one, yes, this is my Petal Pink. I bought her a set of, I don't know how you say this name, Ouhu markers, because I was reading the reviews on Amazon, and those ones came up as good ones, so hopefully those will keep her happy. And of course, you know, if she's making Stampin' Up! Cards, if she's using my cardstock, etc., then I will, of course, allow her to, you know, use the coordinating markers and such. But when she's just doing general art, which she does a lot, she can use the other alcohol markers. And I'll probably end up borrowing hers if I start doing some of the stuff. She likes doing those Zentangle drawings. I think they're quite relaxing, actually. Okay, so there's my flowers. I need to color my vase and my pot. Okay, so I used, what is this, bronze? Yeah, bronze. I had originally done a pecan pie, but I just found it was a little too, I don't know, I didn't like the shade, how it looked with everything. So anyways, I used bronze instead. So I'm just going to color this in. And because there's no light and dark bronze, bronze comes with is paired with, what's it called here? Ivory. So you can create shading just by adding a little bit more color here, like this. That's all I'm gonna do. Yes, I heard Copic is a good brand too, but it is, I think that one's an expensive one too, so I'm not buying that one for her. Oh, you use bronze a lot, Tara. I did not use it a lot. I just like the shade with this particular DSP. Okay, so this is Daffodil, so I can match my Daffodil to my paper. And I used Old Olive for my leaves. Have you tried the Copic markers, Tara, since your sister-in-law has them? I'm just curious how they compare. I've never tried them. Okay, so I will need to cut these. So let's die cut these first. I'm just going to bring back my cut and emboss machine. And I'll get the die out. I noticed that the markers that I just bought for my daughter, they don't have the brush tips on them, and I don't know if this is typical of all, like many of the alcohol markers that I was looking at, but they have a chisel tip on the other end instead of a nib, which I think will probably stand up to her coloring a bit better, but Again, I haven't tried those, but yeah, they seem to have a lot of chisel tips instead of brush tips, which I like on the Stampin' Up! Blends markers. Okay, so let's, oh, I forgot I have to bevel, offset my plates. Okay, there we go. There's one. Oh, that was a little bit too far over. That's okay. Let's turn this one around. I'm actually going to set it a little bit off to adjust for how it gets pushed when it's pushed through the machine. So then I won't get as much of a border on, a big border on one side, hopefully. Sandra, you're asking if the ones I got are refillable. I have no idea. I have no idea if they're refillable. Okay. Every time I go to let go of these things, they stick to me. All right. Okay, let's put that through. Okay, I forgot to tape down my grid paper so it doesn't move. Okay, I have 3 pots of plants. I'm going to put this away before I lose it. And I think that's it for the die cutting. I am going to move this off the table. And I'm just going to fussy cut my flowers. Okay, so it's easier to manage when you're holding a smaller piece of paper rather than the entire thing. So I'm just going to cut it out. And I'm at the age where I have to take off my glasses so I can see close. So I'm keeping the black outline on my flowers, so I'm just cutting to the outside of it. Yeah, that's weird. Usually, like, that's funny. You have to put on the glasses. I have to have my computer glasses on to see the computer, but to see up close, I have to take my glasses off. So I always take it off when I'm cutting or I'm coloring, fine small areas so that I can see better. I feel like May and June have just been flying by. This month we have both our kids are graduating. Well, one is leaving her elementary school, going to middle school, and the other one is graduating grade 12, and finals start next week. So lots going on, and we're having our a family picture taken at the end of the month. I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea to schedule it right at the end of all this madness, because my sister's daughters are also graduating. They're graduating grade 8, so there's lots going on. Still need to find shoes for me and like a suitable shirt for my son. Anyways, yeah, there's lots going on this month, and I will be glad. I was just going to say I'm going to be glad when it hits July, but then I just realized I have not planned my daughter's birthday party yet either, and her birthday is at the beginning of July, so we're not out of the woods yet. Normally by now I would have already booked something or, you know, have something planned, but I don't know what happened this year. It just all disappeared. All the time disappeared so quickly, and I never booked anything for her birthday yet, and we haven't got any ideas as to what we want to do. She's turning 12, and I don't know. I'm thinking maybe just doing an easy birthday party this year. Like in past years, we've done like climbing gyms, painting, and art, and all sorts of things. This year, nothing planned. I'm way behind. Okay, so now my flowers are cut out and we can assemble. Let me grab this. Okay, so let's fold and burnish the card. Okay. Oh, I need to stamp. I'm going to stamp the sentiment. I'm going to use thank you so much again. And I am loving how this lines up perfectly because we sliced them together. So it's not an exact science as to where I put this DSP, but it's about 3/4 of an inch or an inch from the top. I'm going to move it up just a tiny bit, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let's... A scavenger hunt at the mall, Tara says, or a spa day at home. Spa day at home. You're talking like just for my daughter, right? I'm not painting like 10 girls' toenails. I hope that's what you meant. Yeah, she would love that. I think I did that during the pandemic. When we couldn't do anything, we couldn't go anywhere. I actually did do that. I gave her a spa day at home. She loved it. I put cucumber slices on her eyes and everything and put her hair up. Okay, so I'm using glue, so I have a little bit of wiggle room to move the paper around. I don't like to use a lot of glue because I find that it makes the paper crinkle when I put it on, so I tend to be sparing about it. Okay, so here we go. About 3/4 of an inch or an inch from the top. I don't think it's has to be exact. I try not to touch the glue as I put it down. Okay, and before I glue it onto, attach it to my card base, I am actually going to do the stamping. And I freehanded my thank you so much when I did that card. Oh, Tara says to hire somebody to come do it. I see. Yes, I think I've heard of that too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. Thank you for the idea. Okay, so I'm going to use my Stamparatus. I know that not everybody has one. I do love mine, but I want to have the letters a little bit darker this time. So I'm just going to line this up. Let's see. Let's line it up here. And let me get the sentiment out, which is from the Inspired Thoughts set. I know it's retired, but I use this quite often. I like the clean letters and the sentiments in this set. And oh, I don't need because this is a cling stamp, I don't need the extra pad here, so I'm just going to remove it. Okay, let's line this up again. I always line it up with the grid paper in case it moves while I'm setting it up. Okay. All right. So I'm going to place it here, pick it up with my panel, and then I'm going to double check on my panel that it looks straight. And it looks fairly straight. I think it's going downhill a little bit on this side. So, oh, I pulled it off by accident. I'm just going to double check that it looks okay. Okay, now what I like to do before I actually stamp it onto the final card, I like to take a piece of scrap paper and I like to stamp on that just to be sure that it looks straight. I'm going to get a blank one. Here we go. Just a blank piece of scrap. Okay, here's a blank piece of scrap. I'm just going to line it up here so I know that it looks straight once I stamp it. Okay, I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss for stamping. Let's get those markers out of the way. I'll put the case underneath so it'll make it easier to ink up. All right, so let's try this out. That looks quite straight. I think I'm happy with that. Although, you know what? I think I want to move it over a smidgen. And I'm not going to move the actual stamp. I'm going to move the paper just a smidgen. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp. And I'm going to do it twice because I know that it's make it look, give it more impact. Now I'm not pressing really hard on the rubber stamp because I don't want it to make the letters fat, because these are thin letters. I'm just pressing gently. There. And now my letters stand out. Okay, so that's all I wanted to do. And let me get my chamois to clean that off. Now the other thing I need to do before we put it down or adhere it to my card base is add the ribbon. So I'm going to hide the ribbon underneath the mat, okay? So that it doesn't wrap all the way around the card or whatever. So I'm just going to add, I'm just going to eyeball this. I just need enough to wrap around to the back of the card. Okay, and I need my stamp and seal. And I'm just kind of eyeballing where approximately I'm going to need to make that ribbon stick. And it doesn't matter if you don't get it right the first time, because if you put enough there, you can just adjust your ribbon as needed, right? You can just pull it off. So I'm just going to put it approximately here and wrap it around, and it's going to stick to my stamp and seal. And wrap it around, and I'm sticking it to the back on the stamp and seal there. I'm going to pull it off because I want a little bit more, I want it to hold on a little better. So I'm just going to adjust it. That's the good thing about using the stamp and seal instead of like tape or glue. It's less messy, and I can adjust as I go. So I think that looks good. Okay. I'm just going to lay out my 3 pieces here just to get a quick idea to see if it looks good, if the spacing looks good. And yeah, I think I aim for an equal spacing here and here and here, and I think that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead. I'm going to adhere this to the card base now. Okay, and I'm going to grab my tear and tape for this. I noticed that they're starting to use tear and tape as the adhesive inside of the kits more often, which I think is a great move. I think they're a little easier to manage than the dots for some people, so I'm happy to see that. There, okay. Now I'm just going to peel off all the backing. If it doesn't come off easily, it's because the sticky stuff isn't actually stuck to the paper. So I'm just pressing it down and rubbing it. And then once you've got it stuck to the paper, you should be able to lift the backing quite easily. All right. Here's my card base. We'll just make sure it's opening it to the proper side. And I always line up the top and the bottom and the side and leave the edges up so that I can move it around before I actually stick it down so that I know that the spacing looks good. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to assemble the little pots and flowers first before I adhere them, because I use dimensionals behind these, if you can tell. Okay, so before I do that, I'm going to put the pots of flowers on top of them first. So all I'm doing is taking glue, and I'm going to put them on the backs of the pots. And we'll bring out my trusty tweezers because I need them to help pick them up. When I first saw the Attention Shoppers bundle, I thought it was really cute, but I wasn't sure exactly what I would be using it for. But look, I mean, I've used the components of like everything except the shopping cart to make other cards. I think next week I'll definitely have to use the shopping cart itself somehow. All right, and the third one. So there. Okay. And for the flowers, I just glued them on. So, whoops, that guy's coming up a little bit. So I'm just going to arrange them first because I put some of them upside down. I don't know if there's an upside down, but where the middle flower is sticking up, and some of them sticking down. So let me just see. I think I like having the orange in the middle because those two purples are close together. So I'm going to vary it so that this flower is at the top. All right, looks good. All right, so let's glue these on. I'm using tiny dots of glue so I don't end up with a lot of glue squishing out. And I'm just going to place it low enough to cover the edge of the pot and so I can see the greenery behind it. Actually, I'm going to lift it up just a little bit. It's a little too low for me. There we go. Okay, the orange one next. So if you were wondering how I picked the colors, I always pick from the DSP. So the DSP has most of these colors, and that will help you coordinate your cards so they look really good. I did vary it slightly because the paper actually has Lemon Lolly, but I am using Daffodil Delight for this because I don't have enough Lemon Lolly in my stash. But that's how I pick my colors, and that's how you can guarantee that they're going to look fantastic together, because somebody already picked out the colors that look good together. There. All right. Oh, Tara said that somebody used the shopping cart as a laundry basket. That's a great idea. What clothes? I don't have any clothes to put in it. I don't have any clothes stamps to put in them, I think. Yeah, I think I like this, the yellow background better too. It's brighter. I wasn't sure. I mean, my initial thought was to match everything in the paper. That's why I didn't think to use Daffodil Delight. I wanted to match it, so I used Flirty Flamingo, but I think the Daffodil works. Okay, so let's put these on. I'm just going to, again, I'm just going to pre-lay them out so I know approximately where I'm going to lay down my first one. So I'm going to do the outside ones and then put the middle one last so I know I have the spacing right. So let's use some dimensionals. Okay, so, oops, this is a little bit stuck. I'm just lining this up before I lay it. And I'll do the same thing for this one. I'll do the outsides. This one's a little close to the edge. I'm just going to move it over. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to make sure the spacing is right for this piece. And then the other one, the last one, will just go right in the middle. I'm just picking up because I can't see when it's lying down, if it's the right angle. I'm going to turn it just a teeny bit. All right. Last one. Oops. Okay, so this last one just goes right in the middle. There. Okay, my final touch is to add the bow. Now, this is the easiest way to add that bow. No, it's not a bow even, it's just a knot. I'm going to cut off a section of ribbon, and I'm just going to slide it underneath and tie it around there. And this gives you the flexibility of moving that knot anywhere. I used to this was impossible, I'm telling you. I used to cut two pieces and then tie the knot and then try to tie it and then wrap it around afterwards, but that was way more challenging of a task than you'd think, and this is way easier. Okay, so all I'm doing is tying the knot right on there, and it looks like you tied it, you know, beforehand. And this gives you the flexibility of moving it around. So if I didn't like it there, I can just pull it over. Right? I can do that, or I can move it over here. Easy peasy. So that is a simple little trick. So I'm just going to move it like there, and I'm going to trim it down. There. And that is today's card. I like both versions, but I do think that the yellow looks better. It's brighter. I like both of them though. Which one do you like better? I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll be able to case this just like I did from Heidi Collins, and make your own creation and enjoy some crafting this week. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you next week. Bye!